Hello folks, this is Sula once again. Welcome to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is going to be taken from a ranked game. This is at roughly mid-platinum ranked ELO, so starting to get a little bit further up as far as the ladder goes. And in this game, we're going to be looking at really just a close, tight game, but one in which at the end of the game, I'm going to choose to play not snipers alongside Jhin. Um, Fewer snipers, more enchanters, which is something that I've had some good success with. So we're going to have to get there first. So we'll go through the early game and then look at how the later stages of this game played out. All right, so once again, I am taking a chain vest off the initial carousel. That has continued to be my favorite starting item here in set 6. I found that it's very versatile. I know I've said this before. If you've watched all these videos, this will not be a new point, but I just like having that because if I get multiple vests, Bramble Vest is quite nice. And it's also a situation where I can, always want to have strong front line. And then I can build, if I get a bunch of rods and tiers, I can build into some kind of spellcasting team composition. It could be like an Arcanist team. It could be one of those team comps that plays into like Socialites 3, Kaisa, or Akali. If I get a bunch of swords and a bunch of bows, then I can play into a Jhin team composition. I can play into a Challengers team composition, but I'm always going to want some kind of front line. All right, so out of these options, I don't want the Mercenary Heart. I don't like playing into the Mercenaries team comp. I don't even have any Mercenaries, so that would be super risky to try to pick that. And then Lifelong Learning, if you don't have Scholars ready to go, I don't really suggest going with Lifelong Learning. It's really good if you're going to play like a Heimerdinger-based team composition or something like that. And that is a viable team composition to play, but like I have no Heimers, I had no Scholars at all on my bench, so I was looking at 2 potentially dead augments. So I just go ahead and take Thrill of the Hunt, which is, always going to be useful. Nothing particularly special, but it's always going to be useful. I'm seeing, by the way, that someone has a Bodyguard Heart, one of those players, which gives you a Leona, and I would love to have that. That would be a much better augment choice for me, but out of the 3 that I have, I'm going to go ahead and just take Thrill of the Hunt, which heals units for 300 on kill. It's really not great, but I didn't really have a lot of other options. So as far as what I've got here, I managed to random my way into a 2-star Caitlyn, which is not bad. But my team composition is still pretty flawed right here because I was not able to find, I really have not found just any frontline units at all. I think I had like one Cassidon. I think I got like the Cassidon off the initial carousel. But like I know that my team comp is inherently flawed right now because yeah, the 2-star Kate is nice, but what Kate really needs is she needs time to get her ult off. If you give her 15 seconds, she's going to delete one of the units on the enemy team. But if my front line just gets bowled over instantly, that's not going to matter. And in fact, this fight's going to be a good example of that. So I'll stick Vi up there on the front line, but 1-star Vi with no brawler trait, or bruiser trait, I guess it's officially called, is not going to do much. And you kind of see what happens in this fight. It's like, yeah, I've got the 2-star Kate, but she just dies right away without being able to get her ult off, so that's pretty disappointing. But I'm not surprised. I know my team comp is really flawed here, and I just did not get any frontline units in any of the initial minion rounds. So yeah, it's not great. It's not great. I feel like I've done the best I can with what I have, but I'm really, like I said, just really got a bunch of like sniper long-range units and didn't get frontliners. I guess I could pick up the Singed here, but I don't think that would actually be any better, having like a 1-star Singed in there, and I don't really want to take out one of these traits just to play the Singed unit instead. So I know that I'm going to lose some of these early rounds. There's not a lot I can do about that, so I probably just accept that I'm going to be loss streaking here for the initial couple rounds until I can stabilize my team a little bit better. Hopefully by I'd love to find just some bodyguard units or some more bruiser units so I can play up on the front line. This person also looks super strong because they have the innovator in. And by the way, Caitlyn choosing to snipe the basically only unit that she won't kill. She chooses to snipe the Trundle and does like 90% of Trundle's health, but does not actually kill him. So I take another bad loss here. I was like, oof, that's not what I'm looking for here. So I will pick up the Poppy just to have another option here. If I can actually get some front line, then I should be relatively stable. I do have 2 Ezreals, and Ezreal's a pretty good item holder. in the early game. He's arguably, Ezreal and Twisted Fate are arguably the two best item holders at the 1-cost tier. Twisted Fate for holding Morellos and potentially a blue buff, and then Ezreal just for holding AD items. In particular, if you can 2-star Ezreal, and then put like useful scrap stuff on him, you can often get a lot of value, and he can be one of the stronger, as I said, one of the stronger item holders for the early stages. So I was kind of thinking, maybe I'll lost streak through the early game, but then I hit this person's board. I kind of hit the weakest person in the lobby. Like if you look at this person, they are very obviously lost streaking. They're at 20 gold already, which is a ton of money, but they're also at 76 health. I don't want to be at 76 health, even if I could be at 20 gold. I'm at 10 gold. So yeah, I mean, I will take. If I'm gonna have to beat that person, I guess I just have to beat that person because I don't want to lose that much health that early in the game. So anyway, this does mean I get early carousel priority, and I thought maybe about taking like a chain vest or something, but that would allow me to make a bramble to improve my front line. But it's on a 1 gold poppy. I don't want to take a 1 gold poppy just to get a bramble vest. So instead, I will take the bow, and that'll allow me to make Last Whisper on Ezreal, and that kind of confirms that I'm going to be going into an AD team competition and not an AP team competition. So this could be and then I hit the 2-star Ez, which looks really great. So let's go ahead and make that. And then I find a Blitz, so I'm definitely going to play that, and that will allow me to get a little bit more frontline protection. And then I put in the Poppy because that will make a bodyguard trait. And then I'm looking at my shop here. I'm like, you know what? I've got an Echo here. I've got a Trundle here. What if I just play 4 scrap instead? That would mean giving up the cape, but I think that that's probably better. So I managed to get this in at the last second, and look how we've just converted the team comp over. Now we're 4 scrap 2 bodyguard, and I can go ahead and put these items on. It looks like I didn't get the chain vest on Trundle quite fast enough, but like now Ezreal can roll, not Ezreal, Echo can roll a scrap item, and the Trundle can roll a scrap item, and I think that this is a way, way better setup than what I had before. So, screw lost streaking. Let's try to win streak instead, because I think that this scrap setup is a lot better. And I think that that was a pretty good pivot that I was able to go into right there. And now I can pick up this other Trundle. And, if I pick up the Trundle, it's going to cost me some income, but then I could potentially sell I think I sell the 2 Ziggs because I want to get back to 20 gold here. Scrap, of course, very nice for the early game. It tends to fall off in the late game. By the way, I'm also going to check the spotlight, and look at this spotlight location, back corner. I was like, ooh, back corner spotlight. That sounds pretty good. Let's keep that in mind for the future. So I actually would like Taric to be the next unit in because, as I said, it's a great spotlight location. It's a little bit unfortunate it's in the back corner because that means it'll be susceptible to Blitzcrank grabs. But, I do think that I want to be able to play into that as the match goes on, just because it's in a very nice location, especially if I could ever get a trap claw, then I could play like a Jhin in the corner, and then trap claw would protect that unit. But unfortunately, if I'm playing Jhin, there is very high priority on other items that build out of the gloves, like Infinity Edge and so on. So it's going to be tricky to try to get a trap claw. Okay, anyway, this round went great. I rolled a Shroud of Stillness. That was able to shroud part of their team. Blitzcrank pulled the Ezreal on the other team, who was serving as their carry. And then I think I had a Rage Blade on the Echo, who like ramped up with all kinds of attack speed. So that ended up working well. I'm able to win the round, and I'm actually able to carry a 3-match win streak into the end of stage 2. So that's really good. That's worth a lot of money. And I've kind of been able to get past the super weak early game by making this switch up to the 4 scrap, which I think was a nice adaptation there. Alright, so what I'm looking for here, I would love to have a belt pop out because that would get me a Morellos. I could put that on Echo, and that would be super strong here in the early game. And here I'm just looking to pick up some stuff, so I will go ahead and sell some of these champs that I don't really want. Maybe the Darius, if I could get 2 more Dariuses for Darius 2-star. I would play that over the Poppy for sure, since Darius 2-star would be a lot better than Poppy 1-star. But then I hit the Poppy 2-star, and I was like, all right, well, I'll just play the Poppy for right now. It's not a great unit, but it's going to be better than playing that Darius. So now I'm considering, do I just want to level to 6 right here and play the Taric? I'm looking at some of these other boards, and I was like, I am on a win streak, but I don't think I want to spend 16 here and drop down to just 21 gold. So I think I'll hold here for now, hold for one more round, and then look to go to level 6 at kind of the standard timing, which is stage 3-2, and then put in the Taric right there. So I figured I'll just hold for one more round. It's honestly kind of interesting seeing what items I pull out of the scrap trait. Like for this round, Trundle's rolled Sunfire, which is really nice to get a Sunfire cape this early in the game just for free. Echo's Gunblade is a little bit less helpful, but he did. I believe he did manage to get one ult off before he was killed. And then of course Ezreal having the Last Whisper is really nice. Now, I thought I was going to win this round pretty easily, but it turned out that this was a much closer round than I expected. The good news is Ezreal does have Thrill of the Hunt, so he heals on every kill, and that's going to be just barely enough to make the difference there. So I was not punished for staying at level 5 there. I was still able to win and continue this win streak. So I'm feeling like my position's relatively good right now. Now I'll look to go ahead to level 6. Can play Tark, that'll give us a little bit more frontline. I'll get the spotlight. The real question though is, where do I position? Because I would love to put Ezreal on that spotlight, but if there are any Blitzcranks out there, he's going to get pulled because people are going to be targeting the spotlight. And that's kind of what I'm doing here as well. Actually, I don't have Blitzcrank position at the spotlight, so I guess I'm not doing that as well as I could at the moment. Probably, yeah, like I'm looking over here, and some of these people do have Blitzcranks. By the way, one person already has the Force of Nature item. I know it's been renamed to Tactician's Crown, but basically the Force of Nature item. And so we're up against this person who's playing a Bruiser's board. This person also has Ezreal, and unfortunately for me, they rolled a Scrap Last Whisper in this fight, which is really bad for me. Like, that's their scrap item. They basically rolled the best possible scrap item, and that allowed them to cut through my front line. And, oh, yeah, that's not so great. So, unfortunately, I am going to lose this round. I thought that by leveling to 6, I might be able to keep win streaking, but nope, it was not enough, unfortunately. And they were able to get a nice roll there. All right, so here I had the choice between a couple different things. I don't want underdogs. I could pick up Enchanter Heart for an extra rank of Enchanter, but I feel like Duet is a better choice right here, because not only do I get a second spotlight, the units that stand on the spotlight get bonus health as well. So I was like, all right, that feels pretty good. And look at where these two spotlights are. Now, the second one could have been anywhere, but it turns out that it's right in the center. So it's slightly unfortunate that one of these is not like one tile off the left-hand side, and having back center is also a little bit risky because assassins can easily target that spot. They're a person who's on the long win streak, Vanille, Godzilla. That person is playing assassins, and they have them targeted right at the center of the board. So, like, these spotlights are great. I really like having them, and I definitely am going to play into the spotlight trait. I definitely want to have at least spotlight 1 or socialite 1, because otherwise I don't even get value out of this. But it is slightly unfortunate the way that one is in the corner, so it's going to get targeted by Blitzcrank, and then the other one is right in the center where it's very, very susceptible to assassins. So, yeah, that's kind of what's happening in this fight. Although the good news is Ezreal actually gets pulled right out of the way of the assassins by the other team's Blitzcrank. So that's kind of nice. The bad news is it doesn't look like this is quite enough. The Darius is right on Ezreal, and he's going to get popped by Katarina. And so it's not quite enough. I think maybe if I'd had a Bramble Vest, I might have actually won that, because then my front line would have been able to survive a lot longer. Maybe Ezreal would have lasted longer, but that board still has not lost yet and has weak spots, so it's just an overall strong board. And after going on that win streak, kind of 3-match, what did I have, a 4-match win streak? Now I'm back to a 2-loss streak, which is not quite so great. All right, so I've got a choice of some different items here. One potential is just to take the sword and look to keep building towards more Ezreal items, more potential Jhin items. I did consider that, but ultimately I decided that getting a Morello's in play was a higher priority. There's a lot of healing in these games, a lot of people playing team comps. One of the things I did earlier was I was considering playing into Chemtech, but I scouted through the lobby and there were several people playing Chemtech. So I was like, all right, I don't think I'm going to play that. Like, I could go in that direction because I've got the, I've got a Last Whisper, which certainly could be played on Urgot, but I decided I wasn't going to go in that direction because there were like 2 or 3 people looking to play Chemtech in this lobby. Look at that. One of those people is already level 7. That's pretty scary. And then we know there's one person who already has the extra unit on the Force of Nature item. So again, I'm trying to look on where I want to play these units. The positioning with the 2 Socialite has been really interesting, trying to figure out where to put these units. I do need to make sure that Echo is somewhere in the middle so that when he uses his Morellos, he's going to hit as much of the enemy board as possible. Unfortunately, that was not the greatest first Morellos from spellcast from Echo. And unfortunately, my Ezreal got pulled at the start of this fight. So I thought that this would actually be a fairly easy win, but it's turning out not to be because Ezreal got taken out. Thank goodness for Thrill of the Hunt here, giving back my units health on kills, and they just barely managed to kill the Lux on this team before I lose the round. So that's good news. I do need to start winning rounds here. I don't want to go on like a long loss streak, but oh, look at this. We get the early Jhin. So I was like, all right, how do I do this? I want to play the Jhin. I want to play 4 scrap. I was like, well, we can just make another 2-star Ez, and then we can play the Jhin. And I guess I can just go up to level 7 here. It's, you know, a little bit earlier than I would like. I don't love going down to 22 gold here. But I do want to get this unit in, so I'll sacrifice some econ to get this unit in. It would be nice to win this round and at least have the little 2-match win streak going into the minion stage. So I'll go ahead and make that shift. I'm hoping that I can win this round here. Unfortunately, I'm up against this Yordles player, and note that there is a Vex with a Bramble vest, which is not exactly what I want to see. At least it's a good Morelos from the Echo over there. And, you know, Jin's doing a pretty good job, but, oh, Vex gets off one more spellcast, and that's not quite what I want. So I was like, oh, this is not great. I just went to 7 on the assumption that I would win this last round, but it does not look like that's going to happen. So I kind of cut into my econ a lot more than I wanted there. Yeah, not great. And in fact, in retrospect, it would have been better if I had lost that previous round, that round on 3-6, because then I almost certainly would not have leveled. I would have just stayed at level 6. And then I could have carried a 4-loss streak into the minion round and had a lot more money. So, ooh, not great. And in fact, my economy is not really where I want it to be right now. Now I'm trying to juggle these different units. I definitely would like to get this Misfortune in so I can play Sniper trait. But I also really do need to improve my front line. This 4 scrap setup was okay for earlier in the game, but it's not quite what I want right now. And then, by the way, the sadness here of getting the perfect components for Morelos. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I just get another Morelos. That's that's something, I suppose, that I could have just... Apparently, I didn't have to emphasize Morelos. But, you know, you can't count on having the perfect components, rod plus belt, just pop out like that. You really can't count on that happening. So anyway, I'm trying to figure this out. And I was like, I think I go down to 4 scrap here and look to play MF for the snipers and look to play a little bit more frontline. So again, I'm trying to figure this out. I don't quite make it in time. Trying to see if I can get Leona in here at some point. I'm also trying to consider if I want to make Giant Slayer with this belt here. Not belt, with this bow. Sword plus bow for Giant Slayer. Or if I want to hold out for maybe making an Infinity Edge. So I'm still trying to figure that out right now. At least Jhin, when he doesn't get jumped on by assassins, does do quite a bit of damage. And having the sniper trait does help. As the video title suggests, we're not going to go into snipers long term, but for the moment, I think that it's useful having Misfortune in there to increase the damage a bit. Fortunately, I hit someone who has like 6 items unused on their bench, which is helpful because I have 3 items unused on my bench, which is more than I typically want. Usually I want to try to use these items. But we get a nice hit here, 2-star Echo, 2-star Blitz. That's certainly nice. So I decide that I will go ahead and just play the Echo on the central spotlight tile or on one of the spotlight tiles and look to reposition from there. So again, I could make Titans, but no, that's not really what I want. I kind of would like a Bramble Vest to make out of that. Would not be the worst way to go. But at least I did get stronger. And ultimately I decide, you know what, I don't think I'm going to get enough swords and gloves to make Infinity Edge. So I'll just go ahead and make the Giant Slayer and look to go from there. Here's the same person with the Ezreal that caused problems for us earlier. And, you know, really the big issue for me is I just need to get enough frontline so that, like, Jhin and Misfortune can kill all of these units. So, I mean, we're doing a decent job of that, but, like, my own frontline is starting to die. And, oh, look how low the Ezreal gets. But Taric is going to heal the Ezreal. And this person, like me, has Thrill of the Hunt. So I was like, oh man, we really couldn't kill this Ezreal, and then Jin's going to get pulled, which is bad, because remember, his sniper trait does more damage based on how far away he is from the enemy. So yeah, we got that Ezreal down to like 20% health, but then that Ezreal just healed right back up to full again, and I was like, really? I lost to Ezreal 1? So that's kind of disappointing. Oh well. So, in any case, I see that there's a Janna in the shop, and I was like, oh, you know what? I should just play this Janna and go back up to 4 scrap again, because I think that's better than having a Misfortune that's only 1 star and unitemized. I'll hold the Misfortune for right now, but I do think going back up to 4 scrap is better here. So, I've been kind of, you know, going into scrap, taking scrap units out, kind of an interesting way to play the game. And I think that I was doing a reasonably good job of adapting my board to what I was seeing. Like in retrospect, going back and looking at this game, I haven't seen anything that was like super obvious about what I should have done differently. Unfortunately, I'm hitting the assassin player again, and every time I hit the assassin player, it's a terrible matchup for me. This is just like the one comp I really, really don't want to see because there's no way for me to protect. No way for me to protect my carries right now against this team comp. So just whenever this team comes up, I take a bad loss, and I'm gonna take 14 damage. So it was like, ugh. Down to just 37 health. That is not what I want to see, but I don't really know what I could do about that, unfortunately. It just is what it is, just one of those things. All right, so I'm looking on here, trying to figure out what I need, and, you know, the Jhin was one of the things I was considering, but it gets taken out. I also considered the Yuumi, just to have Yuumi in my team composition, but I decided, no, what's really killing me in these fights is I don't have enough front line. I want to get Bramble Vest here so that I can maybe have some defense against assassins, if you know, if they would happen to focus on my frontline units. And that's what I need to do. I need to upgrade with my tank units on the front line. That was more important than anything else. So even though it's on a 2 gold, even though it's just on a 2 gold Tristana, I will take that. So I'm going to go to level 8 and I'm going to start rolling. And I was like, ooh, wait a minute. I did not leave myself with enough gold to roll. Whoops. That is not really what I wanted here. But I will start building towards the endgame setup that I want. And I'm trying to look here, and I was like, do I play like the Leona over the Poppy? Is that better? I'm not sure. So I actually have a lot of the units that I want in. Ultimately, I do make that switch. I actually have a lot of the units that I want in. Like, if you look at just the units on my board, this is pretty good. I've got the Echo with the Morellos. I've got Jhin with pretty good itemization. I've got Uri and Janna, and I've got 3 bodyguards in there. The problem is my units are like all 1-starred, so that's very scary. If I can just upgrade my board, I'll be in great shape, but look how poor I am. I've really run myself out of money here. Like, I could have done a better job of managing economy through the early game and mid game. The thing that really cut into my econ was when I went to level 7 a little early and then didn't end up win streaking. Like, that was kind of why I went to 7, is I thought I'd be able to win streak, but I ended up losing one of those rounds, and that really cut into how much money I had. All right, so here, this is not quite the setup I want, having these units here. And I was like, do I play the Lissandra just to get Scholar in? I definitely don't think that unit is as good, but having Scholar trait is nice. And then I decided maybe I could play the, maybe I could look to play this, whatchamacallit, play this Seraphine instead. So I was like, maybe I just play that unit instead, and then I could put Morellos on Seraphine, and that actually did sound pretty good. But the problem is, look at that front line. Oof, that front line is not looking too strong. So I think I actually have to try to move the Blitzcrank up on the front lines just for more protection. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Usually I like to play Blitz more towards the back, but I do want to make sure I have that. So, I mean, in terms of traits, again, this looks pretty good. 3 Enchanter, 2 Socialite with the Duet trait in there. There's a Scion in the shop, so I'm going to look to pick that up as well. But 3 Enchanter, 2 Socialite, 2 Clockwork, 2 Scrap, 2 Bodyguard, 2 Scholar. Like, this is a nice setup, but that's a lot of 1-stars there, partner. It's almost entirely 1-star units. The good news is, thankfully, Blitzcrank is going to get the pull on this Fiora here. So if we can pop the Fiora at the start of the fight, we might have a decent shot here. This person looks like they're trying to transition into challengers, but we are fortunately able to take this 2-star Fiora and really just CC her to death. So I'm going to be able to win this round basically off of that Blitzcrank pull. That person had a 2-star fully itemized Fiora, but she gets pulled, and then she gets CC'd, and she doesn't actually get to do anything in the fight. So I'm able to make it through this round. And that's good because that's going to get us to a minion round, and that's going to give me time to look for more champs and really just try to 2-star a bunch of these units, because that's what I need. Like, the units I have in are good units. They're just all 1-star. And I'm starting to get there. I have more pairs. Like, I've got a pair of Seraphines, a pair of Jhins, a pair of Jannas, and now a pair of Tariks as well. I've also picked up the Scion. I would happily play Scion here. If I could find 2-star Scion, I would drop the Braum and probably drop the Scholar trait. I could drop Lissandra here. And I would happily play a 2-star Scion. I would just take the Bramble Vest off Braum, put it on Scion. I could look to maybe put a Morellos on him. I know I already have a Morellos, but it's not horrible to have a second one. By the way, here's where I get my biggest stroke of RNG luck of the whole game. I get the perfect items for an Infinity Edge just on the last creep round. So that is insanely good RNG luck. I get like the perfect last item for Jhin without having to do anything. So that ramps up my damage by a lot. So that is really, really good. And then I get a nice find in getting Yuumi there. But again, it is another 1-star unit. So I'll go ahead and make the Morellos on Yuumi because that's what I have the components for. And there's another Orianna there. So it was like, do I lock for this Ori? I guess so. Ori is a critical unit in my team composition. I really do want to get her 2-starred. So yeah, it's the 1-star brigade here. Every unit is 1-starred except for, I think it's except for Blitzcrank. Now, unfortunately, this person who's playing Challengers goes ahead and puts a Shroud of Stillness right in the middle of my team. And I do not match up well with Challengers, not at all, because my board is all 1-stars, so they're going to be getting resets like crazy. So yeah, they cut right through my team comp, and that is a bad matchup. And that Shroud was particularly bad. So ultimately here, as I'm waiting, I decide, you know what, we'll drop the Scion, and we'll just pick up the Ori, and that way I get a shop refresh. And oh, what a shop refresh it is. This is the God shop here. 2-star Jhin, and then 2-star Seraphine, and 2-star Orianna. So I'm glad I didn't lock that last round. It's a good sign of why you really don't want to lock the shop if you can avoid it. So anyway, selling the Scion definitely pays off there. I'm still in reasonably good shape here. If I'm just low on health, but most of the lobby is very low on health too. So really, it's just a situation of if I can manage to survive a few more rounds here, get my board upgraded, I think I'll be in decent shape. I moved Jhin over to the left spotlight because I saw there was only one person who was playing Blitzcrank, and I think I had just hit them recently. So I figured Jhin was relatively safe, and in fact, this round's going to go just awesomely because Jhin does not get pulled. He's safely in the back corner, and we were able to actually get the Urgot because that person didn't position the Urgot very well. So we pull the Urgot at the start of the fight. Jhin is totally safe, and he just kills everything. Note that I do not have Sniper Trade in. So remember I played Misfortune for like 1 or 2 rounds, but I'm not playing her right now, and the main reason for that is because I have the Socialite Spotlights in positions that are really helpful to me. 8 gold in the bank, 2-star Seraphine, 2-star Orianna. That works for me. But I'm not playing the Sniper Trait because Jhin doesn't really need it. I mean, it's not bad, certainly. And there are definitely times where you 100% want to play it. But I found in particular, if the Socialite Spotlight is in a good location, it often makes more sense to play into more Socialite units. With me having the Duet Augment, I 100% want to play Socialite units right now because that way I can get the the health benefit for certain units standing on the tiles. And Seraphine's a really good unit, and Tariq's a really good unit. Like, they're very, very helpful units to have here. So the adaptation I'm making right now in terms of positioning is I was like, all right, I want Seraphine to be on the spotlight. I will play Seraphine on the left-hand spotlight, because if she gets pulled, it's not the end of the world. I'll play Jhin next to her. So if she doesn't get pulled, if she does get pulled, it's not the end of the world. If she does get pulled, oh well, that's fine. At least Jhin didn't get pulled. And then I have Orianna on the other spotlight. I'm considering putting Jhin on the middle spotlight as well. So I basically have Seraphine plus Jhin on the spotlights. But I have to make sure that Jhin does not get Blitzcrank hooked. Again, I would love a Trap Claw, but there's no Trap Claw here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Spear of Shojin, and there's 2 reasons for this. One is it's a great item for Seraphine. It'll cause her to cast much more often. Keep applying that Morellos, keep applying their... keep healing my board, keep providing them the attack speed buff. But the other reason is it's on an Urgot, and I know that there's a bunch of people playing Urgot in this lobby, so I can deny those other people the opportunity to play Urgot by taking an Urgot out of the off the carousel. And then I was like, all right, maybe I pick up Scions, but no, we're going to hit another Janna. So I pretty much hit my board, and I think that this is a very solid board here in terms of the traits that I'm playing. So now I'm trying to look at some of these other people. I see that assassin comp that's been tormenting me the whole game, Vanille Godzilla, they're playing their Shaco over on the right-hand side, over on the spotlight, which is fantastic for me. I mean, I guess it's like the first spotlight because I'm the only one who gets 2 spotlights. And here I am up against, what is this person playing? Some kind of Urgot grab bag. So they have a Zephyr, which is going to take out the Seraphine. Again, another reason why I didn't want Jhin over there. And it looks like Jhin actually got Enforcered in this fight. But their Shroud missed because they were shrouding the opposite side. And now I just need my front line to hold up a couple seconds longer. Come on. Go Seraphine, keep getting those heals off. Can we get the Urgot? Yes. So now it's just up to Jhin versus this Lysandra, and Jin's on it. So we're not quite able to knock that person out, but we're able to win the round, and that's good because it's getting very tight here in the lobby. There's just a handful of us still alive in this lobby, and I'm just going to keep rolling because I'm definitely not going to get to level 9. I just want to see if I can hit that 2-star Braum. It would be a big deal for my team comp to hit 2-star Braum here. So as I said, I could have played Scion. I was looking to play Scion, but didn't find him in the stores. Instead, I found a bunch of Enchanters and Socialite units. So that's what I'm playing. And, Sniper's quite good. It's definitely not a bad trait to have in for Jhin, but I think you don't necessarily need it, and I'm trying to showcase that in this game, why I don't think you necessarily need that. All right, so here is the Challenger team comp that I've been having a lot of problems with. I do get shrouded in this fight, which is not great, but watch the Yone in this fight. Yone is about to get a bunch of resets, but oh, the Orianna ult, oh, the Braum ult, so much CC, oh, the Yuumi ult. So all that CC just goes off perfectly, and by the time the Yone comes out of getting CC'd to death, basically the rest of the team comp is dead. So definitely some fortunate RNG there. The Yone was maybe 2 seconds away from killing my whole team. But the CC train hits, and thank goodness, we're able to make do. That could have gone much, much, much worse. But fortunately, it did work out, and I'm going to be top 4. And in fact, I'm actually on a win streak now. So now the question is, can we turn this top 4 into a first place finish? Because that's what I'm looking to do here. A lot of these boards are pretty strong. The good news is I have managed to get a Zephyr out of the dragon here. It's one of the best possible items to get, although I would have really liked another tank item for Braum. But I'm not complaining. I can do fun stuff with Zephyrs. I can target key units on the enemy team if I can place it correctly. So again, we're not going to get to level 9 this game. There's just not enough time. I did not have enough money to do so. So I'm rolling. I really just want to find Braum. That's the unit I'm looking for. I'm not going to 3-star any of these units. That's definitely not going to happen. Yeah, I'm not tempted by getting more Jhins. It's just, I'm not going to be able to put 3-star. I mean, I guess I should have just held Jhins because who the heck knows. Meanwhile, this person here, Vanille Godzilla, this is the assassin player, they hit a 3-star Talon. And I was like, ooh, that 3-star Talon, that's looking a little annoying. What if we take that Talon out of the fight for about 5 or 6 seconds? So, whoop, there we go. I'm going to take this unit out because that unit was positioned in a dangerous spot. They do have a Shaco on the spotlight, but Shaco was kind of jumping in a spot that wasn't that bad, so I don't mind doing that. By the way, we were having a little discussion here on the Sula Discord, and I was too focused on the gameplay in order to shut down Discord. I think I do that in a minute or so, but these fights were super close, and oh wow, look how close this fight is. It's down to just Jhin, and I guess Yuumi was on my team too, but just Jhin and Yuumi plus the Talon. So we are going to win that fight, but wow, was that one close. And then I do manage to hit the 2-star Braum. So my board's basically complete at this point. I'm very happy with what my board looks like. It's mostly 4-cost units on my team composition. I guess I also have the Yuumi in there. So this comp is not like not the best you can make. It definitely does have the potential to get outscaled. And I'm looking at these two boards and trying to see where I would position. I'm going to keep the Zephyr where it is right now. And it turns out that I hit the same team comp again, 2 rounds in a row, Vanille Godzilla. So we're going to get the Talon again. And this person has now shifted their Echo over to the right-hand side because they just hit 3-star Echo. They actually transferred the Shaco items over to Echo. I don't know if that was the best idea because I'm not sure Echo really uses those items that well. I mean, I guess he's got Infinity Edge and he has Assassin's trait, but if you notice, this round's actually going better than the previous one, so I don't know if it was a good idea to sell the Shaco and transfer those items over. A little bit questionable. And then the other player, so now it's down to just 2 players, me and this person Get Pegged Daily, who unfortunately has the Force of Nature, so they get to play an extra unit in there. And they're also scaling up off of Tom Kench items as well. So that's not quite what I'm looking for. But so basically time is on this person's side because my board is not really going to get much stronger, whereas they can keep feeding Tom more units and so on. So I was like, all right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to go ahead and Zephyr this Urgot. I think that that's probably the most useful unit that I can put this on. And then I still want a unit to take advantage of the Socialite Spotlight. So I'll go ahead and drop the Janna here. I probably should have looked to put Jhin on there just to be safe. We do manage to get the Orianna with our Blitzcrank pull. And we kill the Ori before she ults, which is super duper nice. So now the question is, can we just make our way through the front line of this enemy team before they have a chance to kill my units? And this is a very close fight. I'm like, come on, Jhin. Oh, Jhin, nope. Looks like we're maybe just a little bit short here. Tom Kench is going to come over and, oh, man, this was a close fight. Jhin was like 2 seconds away from killing everything. And I do wonder if I had placed him on the spotlight if I would have won that round. All right, so now it's time for a carousel. And oh, no, that is not what I want. There is a Yuumi with a Shroud. I was like, oh, Oh, why? Why did you have to do that to me, game? So not only does this person end up getting a Yumi, they also get a Shroud as well. So I will make the best of a bad situation by picking a Death Cap and putting it on Seraphine. And so now Seraphine's going to be super duper strong, but now this person's going to be able to play Yumi with the Shroud. They already have they're already playing Yumi. Now they just get another Yumi towards Yumi 2-star, and they're going to be able to Shroud me. And there's nothing I can do to dodge the Shroud. They can drop it in at any point. And more importantly, I have to use the spotlights. The spotlights are too important. So I'm going to go for a slightly different tactic here. I am going to look to try to Zephyr their Mundo because I want to get their front line out of the way. And I'm going to put the Jhin on the spotlight. I know he's going to get shrouded, but I'm still going to put him there. Once again, we're able to pull the Orianna at the start of the fight. We delete their Ori right away. I'm not really expecting to win this round because they were able to place that shroud, but oh, look at this. Wait a minute. We're doing a good job here. Jhin is getting off more cast because he's on the spotlight. I should have had him on the spotlight last round. And oh, we're actually going to win this. Okay. Oh, I thought I might have actually won the game there, but 2 HP. 2 HP on this person. So I was like, all right, that adaptation seems to have worked. I'll continue looking to try to Zephyr the Mundo. And I'll go ahead and pick up, I guess, these Jhins. There is a Jace here, but there's not really anything I would take out to play Jace. I was mostly just looking for Yumis. I was like, okay, this feels, you know what? This feels pretty good. So let's continue. This person doesn't really seem to be making any changes to their team comp. So maybe let's try running the same thing back again. So I'll go ahead and position here. Although I think I should have had Ori in the same spot. But look what this person did. They shifted the Zephyr or the Shroud over slightly. So they did not Zephyr. They actually did not Shroud either of my units on the spotlight. But they did Shroud the Blitzcrank. And what that meant is Orianna did not get pulled at the start of the fight. And watch Orianna on the other team here. She is going to... Oh, that is not where Jhin wanted to be. And Jhin is going to get pulled into the middle of their team comp. And oh, wow. That was the difference in the fight. Yeah, their Shroud keeping Blitzcrank from pulling Ori actually ends up making the difference. So a really close fight, but I think I was probably lucky to win the round that I did. That person had the extra unit because they had the Tactician's Crown for +1 unit size. And they also were feeding Tom and getting stronger, and they were getting items out of Tom, and they got the Shroud of Stillness out of the last carousel, which would have swung the game. If I had gotten the shot, I would have 100% won. So that's RNG for you. Teamfight Tactics RNG. I can't be too dissatisfied with getting the second place. Would have loved to have had first, but I do think the end of game RNG went in their favor a little bit better. Well, an entertaining game. I hope this team comp was fun to see. Thanks once again for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. And until next time, I'll see you guys again soon.